Excited.
Beautiful. Special.
Amazing.
My name is Sara Whitestone, and I am a Hobie alum from 2010.
I met Sara a couple years ago when she was an ambassador with Hobie.
Sara has been a big part of my life ever since I met her at Hobie.
I just met Sara a few days ago, and actually for the first 24 hours that I knew her, and we worked pretty closely together.
Well, my sister's sophomore year, she came here to Hobie, and I didn't really hear much about it till then. But as years progressed, and as well as her disease has progressed, she started volunteering here at Hobie, and some days she couldn't get out of bed, and other days would be better. But anytime I ever saw her talk about this place, her face would just light up and the smile would appear on her face.
My experience at Hobie was definitely inspiring.
I think it was on the last night of the seminar last year when we really got a chance to sit down and kind of talk about it. And I found out what she was going through.
And seeing her struggle with this illness throughout high school was tragic on that end.
Suddenly, one day, I got like a headache, and I was extremely dizzy, and something was wrong. Myalgic encephalomyelitis, or ME. Broken down, that big word just basically means inflammation of the brain and spinal cord and muscle pain. And unfortunately, the inflammation causes central nervous system damage and severe cardiovascular abnormalities.
I think the best way to figure out what she goes through is to follow her on Twitter. Just to read the surgeries and read about how she feels on a day-to-day basis. It's unreal. To be so young, but to be that strong.
Christmas Day was the worst I've ever been this past year. And I was too sick to walk downstairs to spend Christmas morning with my family. They basically had to carry me downstairs and sit me on the couch, and they put a present in my lap. And the pressure of the present on my legs was so severe to me at that time, and I didn't have the ability or energy to even tear back a piece of wrapping paper. And after about 2 minutes of sitting downstairs, they had to take me back up to my bed.
For her to come back and volunteer at this seminar and give it her all for 5 straight days and then crash for 3 weeks, maybe longer.
I became dependent on the use of a wheelchair. And for me, this was such an emotional issue. I felt like a defeat that I had to be dependent on something like this at such a young age. When I used to be a runner, my friends from Hobie were constantly reaching out and constantly reminding me of that right perspective that has to happen. And so instead of looking at my chair as a crutch or an object that I didn't want to use, I started looking at it as my snorkel and goggles is what I call it. And I say this as my analogy because one of my favorite memories before I fell ill was snorkeling in the Caribbean with one of my best friends. And I could not have seen those beautiful fish without my goggles and my snorkel. So at that moment, my chair became my tool to see the world.
And I found out that she's coming to the University of Cincinnati, where I'll be a 5th year student next year. And so, talking about it and some of her ailments and the fact that she may have to be in a wheelchair a lot of the time, she was very concerned that she didn't want to be in a fully motorized wheelchair that most people might think of, because she would lose so much mobility. And if you've ever been to the University of Cincinnati or you've seen pictures of it, it's extremely hilly, so it's hard to push yourself around in a traditional type of wheelchair.
So since Sara's planning on going to UC in the fall, she needs some modifications for her wheelchair, because wheeling a wheelchair every day is obviously quite taxing on the body. So what she needs for her wheelchair is actually specialized wheels that are going to help her roll and assist her in rolling. However, it'll still make her wheelchair light enough that she can haul it in her car without having to get a van and all this specialized equipment.
Okay, so these wheels they're called the Emotion M15 Power Assist wheels. Okay, basically they're awesome, and they're going to give me that independence, the maneuverability. They keep me from rolling backwards down a hill. The retail price of these wheels, $8,616.75. And that doesn't include the batteries for them, which are $900 each for each wheel. And then every year you have to get a new battery. So we looked at these wheels, they were cheaper, they would come on and off so I could put them in my car, I could transport them, I could still get around. I applied to the Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation Services, and I told them my story, my background, my dream to go to UC, and in hopes that they would help fund me. Before HOBY, I got an email saying I was able to be eligible for their services. And I was extremely happy. I'm thinking, this is great. Kind of my last hope here came through, and I'm going to be able to go to UC now because I'm going to get these wheels. And the second day of HOBY, I got a call from my counselor saying that I had been waitlisted.
So as soon as we found out the problems that Sarah was having getting the money for her wheelchair, I knew that we needed to do something. And luckily we were at HOBY, where we have people who have not only the passion and the drive, but they also have the skill set to really make a change happen.
The reason that everyone just dove into this project headstrong is because Sarah has done everything else under the sun possible to prepare to go to UC in the fall. She's planned where she's going to stay, what accommodations she's going to need, and everything was in order until yesterday when she got a call that she wasn't going to be able to get a grant to get these wheels. So with the HOBY spirit, we were actually just standing right outside this room talking, and Sarah's explaining it, and then we're like, we're going to make this happen. Sarah, you're going to go to UC in the fall. And being that it's like a month and a half away, everyone just kind of dove into it headstrong. 90 minutes later, we had plans hashed out for a tacky prom, which will be held in August. We also had a car wash and a lemonade stand fundraiser. We're making buttons as we speak right now that we're going to sell. We have a couple of them done already. Sara Spins, make sure you get one. And all these things just to go towards it.
So we started brainstorming, and within 24 hours we had raised over $3,500, had plans for multiple ideas, and we're well on our way to collecting the money that Sarah needs.
And this organization that HOBY's putting together for her, she is in shock and awe, and she deserves every single part of it. So,
Oh, I'm so excited. Like, it's gonna be worth the crash when I get home, you know, and I'll heal, and it'll take time, and then I'll prepare for school. And I'm not worried about school anymore. Like, I know I can do it.
she doesn't let her disease hold her down, and she never asks for anything. She doesn't ask for special treatment. She doesn't ask for people's pity.
She always has pushed herself to the limit and then some. It's that and then some is what really makes Sarah Sarah.
My whole family has been so supportive and so amazing, and they've sacrificed so much. I truly believe that these angels here at HOBY, they're making the difference, that positive difference in my life.
But then also seeing her be so passionate about HOBY and other aspects of her life is also an inspiration to me. And to have someone deny wheels to Sarah when she has so much aspiration to go to college and she needs these wheels to get there, it's discouraging, and it makes me want to fight it.
She knows that from DC I'll be doing everything I can to help Sara Spins because she inspires me.
And now as she plans on going to college and becoming a doctor and a researcher and wanting to help people, and the struggle that we've been going through to get her wheels has been answered by HOBY with Sara Spins, and their amazing contributions to her have just been so helpful, and the HOBY is one of the greatest experiences I will ever have in my life, and I'm really happy to be a part of it, and that they are supportive of her.
Like 48 hours ago, I thought that I wasn't going to be able to go to college. The fact that HOBY, this is a pure example of what HOBY does. HOBY changes lives. And this seminar in these past 4 days, life-changing.
The courage she's showing in the struggle that she's facing right now is something that is making her stronger, and it's making the people around her stronger.
It's not so much about like me being sick as it is, look what HOBY does for someone. Look what HOBY can do in less than 24 hours, raising $3,500. Like, I told my parents that, and they were just completely taken aback. And my mom was like, no one does that. And I was like, HOBY does that, and that's the point.